Have you ever been 100% sure about something, only to find out you've remembered it completely wrong? Like, when did Nelson Mandela actually die? Or was it Berenstain Bears? Or Berenstain Bears? You're not alone. And it's not just a memory slip. Welcome to the world of the Mandela Effect on Wired Weird Channel, a strange phenomenon that's making millions of people question everything they thought they knew. Is it just our brains playing tricks on us? Or are we glitching in reality? This might just change the way you see the world forever. What is the Mandela Effect? The Mandela Effect is the term used when large groups of people remember something a certain way only to discover that their memory doesn't match reality. The term was first coined in 2009 by Fiona Broom, a paranormal researcher, who discovered that many people, including herself, clearly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison in the 1980s. In truth, Mandela was released in 1990 and became South Africa's president in 1994. He lived until 2013, but Broom wasn't alone. Thousands of people worldwide were convinced they had seen news reports or read textbooks that mentioned his death in prison decades earlier. This strange collective misremembering led Broom to ask, what if these memories are real, but from a different timeline? Famous examples of the Mandela Effect. Over the years, countless examples of the Mandela Effect have emerged, many of which are truly mind-boggling. Here are some of the most famous. Example 1. Berenstain Bears or Bernstein Bears? Ask anyone who grew up reading these books and most will swear the name was spelled Berenstein with an ein, but in every existing copy it's actually Berenstain with an ein. Even people who owned the books as children are stunned to see the new spelling. Example 2. Luke, I am your father, or not. One of the most iconic lines in movie history is widely remembered as Darth Vader telling Luke Skywalker, Luke, I am your father. But in reality the line is, no, I am your father.
No, I am your father.
How can millions of fans misquote such a famous line? Example 3. The Monopoly Man's monocle. Close your eyes and picture the Monopoly Man. Got it? Does he have a monocle? Most people would say yes, but shockingly, the Monopoly Man never wore a monocle, not in any official version of the game. Example 4. Pikachu's tail. Many fans of Pokemon remember Pikachu with a black tip at the end of its tail, but if you check official images, there's no black tip, it's completely yellow. Are we experiencing alternate realities? Some believe that the Mandela Effect is a sign that we're shifting between alternate realities or parallel universes. The idea is that there are infinite versions of the universe, each slightly different, and sometimes our consciousness might drift from one version to another. In this theory, you might have originally lived in a universe where it really was spelled Berenstain, and one day you shifted into this version where it's Berenstain. That's why the memory feels so strong. It was true, just not here. Others tie this idea to quantum physics, especially the many worlds interpretation, which suggests that every possible outcome of every decision exists in its own universe. If that's true, then it's not so hard to imagine that we might occasionally jump tracks, or at least retain memories from another version of reality. It's a wild theory, but for those who've experienced the Mandela Effect, it often feels more plausible than simply being wrong. Or is it all just faulty memory? The more grounded explanation is that the Mandela Effect is simply a result of how human memory works. Memory isn't perfect, it's not like a video recorder. It's reconstructed every time we recall it, which means it's highly susceptible to errors, suggestions, and influences. Psychologists call this a false memory, and it's surprisingly common. Our brains are wired to spot patterns, fill in blanks, and create connections. When you think you saw something a certain way, your brain can auto-complete the rest, even if the original memory was vague or flawed. In the case of Berenstain Bears, for example, the "stein" suffix is more common in names, so our brains default to what seems most familiar. Likewise, pop culture and repeated misquotes, like the Darth Vader line, reinforce the false memory over time. In short, we all have cognitive biases that influence how we remember things, especially when our memories are formed during childhood or from cultural references. The role of the internet and mass belief. One reason the Mandela Effect has gained so much traction in recent years is the internet. Social media, forums, and YouTube videos have allowed people to share and compare experiences. When people discover that others remember something the same way, it validates their belief that something strange is happening. The confirmation bias kicks in. We notice more of what we already believe, and we ignore what contradicts it. In large communities, shared false memories can feel like real proof of something deeper. In some ways, the Mandela Effect has become a modern urban legend, mixing psychology, conspiracy, nostalgia, and sci-fi themes all in one. So, are we glitching? The Mandela Effect sits at the intersection of memory, mystery, and modern mythology. Whether it's a quirk of human psychology or evidence of something far stranger like alternate timelines or simulated worlds, it forces us to question the nature of our reality. While science currently leans toward the memory explanation, the fact that so many people share the same false memories keeps the mystery alive. And perhaps that's the most important part. It reminds us that even in a world filled with facts and data, there are still things we can't fully explain. In a time where we think we understand everything, the Mandela Effect whispers a curious possibility. Maybe we don't. Tell us in the comments, which Mandela Effect blew your mind the most? And do you think there's more to it than just memory errors? If this video made you question your reality, give it a thumbs up, share it with a fellow glitcher, and don't forget to subscribe for more strange mysteries and mind-bending theories. Until next time, stay curious and question everything.